I see your facts of life, and I raise you. Dynamite. Yeah. Now, why was Good Times a hit? I remember. I watched it. Jefferson's, Benson, Benson, fucking awesome. Whatever happened to that? Maybe that guy died. I don't know. He was an awesome actor. I mean, come on. Let's look at Good Times. I mean, it was a hit. It surely wasn't because, I guess, J.J. Walker running around yelling, "Dynamite!" and all that other bullshit. But no, it was a struggle of the lower class, 70s, 80s, going. And that's what really made the show the hit. Look at Roseanne. What made Roseanne kick the shit out of Cosby? Same thing. You get these shows that show real America, well, as much as can be on a scripted TV, but and they do pretty well. What there are a lot of things that you could probably learn if you watch Good Times. I don't know, maybe. But you know what? The same problems that they were preaching about then are the same problems now. They're always going to be the same problems. We're always going to have taxes. We're always going to have property taxes. It doesn't matter whether I agree with them. Doesn't matter if I like them. It doesn't matter if I hate them. That's just a fact. Cutlery Lover said there's no way to live debt free. That's bullshit. You can become homeless. You can become a bum. That's debt free. Sure, it's not the perfect lifestyle, and it's not suited for 99.9% of the population, but hey, 0.01% isn't bad. But, yeah, this whole taxing and stuff, I used to pay $4,000 a year in California. $500 a year for a 97 Dodge. A new truck would be over $1,000. It's just the cost of living. It's not only that. It's the and that's what other thing is. It's not just taxes. It's the whole cost of living. The utility in California was, oh my God! In summer I would be $300-400 up in the mountains. Here it was 170. It's just a huge dramatic difference. At least half the cost. And it's just everything, property, everything else. It's funny when you take a mountain, and I was 4,000 feet up on that mountain here, and I moved over the hill to 5,000 feet, and I got a 10,000 plus raise. So, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. And there's a sacrifice. And I know why I am pretty sure I know why Mike's bitter. Because he's kind of like in a position that I was, where you're home, you're homegrown. And Lamb Dog sees it, but not up to the point that, we have it. where your home is your home, and then everybody comes here and raises it up. Well, they do in Florida, but not to the level it happens, in other places. And it forces people that are true locals out of the whole market, renting and everything else. And people think that renting, you're not paying property tax. You damn well bet you're paying property tax through your rent. That's figured into your rent. You might not realize it, but you are paying that for the owner of the house. You are paying for everything for that house. That owner ain't paying for shit. You're paying it all. Otherwise, he wouldn't be renting it out. So yeah, even if you rent a house, you're paying property taxes. So I don't think it's to me personally, I don't mind. I'll pay my fair share. Now, by saying that, I don't agree with, X amount. What can I do about it? California lost cause. And Massachusetts, and unfortunately, those areas like that, lost cause. They've already reached a level where they're not going to fall back. It's like LA and New York. They've already gone that far. They're not going back. Florida and stuff like that can fluctuate. Like Lamb Dog, you said you went up 150. Now you guys are coming back down because there's so many open foreclosures. In California, it doesn't do that. It goes up, and it kind of came back down. Not a lot. I mean, in housing, it did. It took a decent hit, but still not even close to where it was 10 years. I mean, like the home my parents were living in when I got married, they were renting it. It was a 50s, 60s style ranch home. It was worth it was worth $50,000. 2 years later, it was worth $100,000. A year later, it was worth $175,000. I mean, it got up to like $250,000. Okay, now they're back down to $175,000. So they've lost, but they haven't gone back to where they should be. At least, $100,000. And it's because of why. Part of the bailout is allowing the banks to hold on to a lot of these government repos, which is a bulk of the repos, and they're holding on to them longer. There's two on the street that are government-owned repos, and they're holding on to them. They're not anything, because if they flood the market, it is just going to drop it more, and the government wants to try to get back most of its investment. That's the true money right there that we're paying out on this whole TARP bill. The loans got out and came back. Okay? The loans that went to the banks got paid back. The ones that went to GM got paid back and came back. The money that the government is out on this is trillions of dollars. It's not trillions, but billions of dollars. And they're still working on it. And they got to pay the banks to hold them. And that's what people don't understand. They're paying the banks, and it's the government. Because the government holds the note. Or the bank actually holds the note, but the government's the signer. It's hard to explain, but, I mean, think of a student loan, because that's exactly how they do it. Government writes the loan. Government puts the loan in a deal. And government sells the loan to a bank. When they sell it to the bank, they say, okay, here's our loan. We guarantee it. There you go. The bank once the bank gets like too many of them for them to administer, they package them up, they send them out. Okay? Wall Street gets them. Investment, hedge funds. They come from a bank, so they think bank did job. Bank did credit report, because unlike what people really think, banks are extremely hard to get credit from. So they think it's good. It's always been good in the past. They've had 3% fail. That's not bad. Okay? So they bet on it. and the bet fails, everybody fucked. Except for bank. Because bank gets reimbursed by government. Bank gets even paid for government to hold the houses. So does mortgage companies. See? That's Clinton, you motherfucker. But anywho, California allowed, there's some provision of law where because of something like this, you can redo your assessment and everything else. I chose not to because I wasn't going to do that much. But people are. The biggest problem with, when you get with taxes is people just, like Lambdog said, there's an option on his. People don't know the actual tax law. You gotta go to a professional, man. These things are so fucking complicated. I used to be good at them, and now they're just like, what the fuck is this bullshit? In 2012, more shit changed. You gotta go to a tax professional. You gotta get it done right. Fuck that stupid software bullshit. Get it done right. To make sure you're actually paying the only amount you should be paying. Even on property tax. There could be incentives that you don't even know about. Some places have incentives if they consider if you keep it, original, historical or whatever. You got to look all that bullshit up. You got to be smart about it. If you want to live and stay in that area, that's what you got to do. The only other option is leaving. Well, I take that back. There is another option. The other option is going over the budget yourself. You're a taxpayer. You have the right to see that budget. Go over it yourself and question it. What if you find a $50,000 toilet seat in there and you question it and they fix it? Well, you won. It might not have been a big amount, but anything is a win. When's the last time you heard somebody just getting bored and sitting down and grabbing their city budget and reading it, trying to figure out where the fuck all this money's going? But they'll complain about it. But they won't at least go read it and challenge any of it. But you're right. Why don't you do it? I don't know. And let me be clear, in case maybe I should put the disclaimer in front. I don't care paying my fair share. I don't care. I don't care about permits because I have family in construction. I know what happens when permits aren't in use, and people get fucked really bad. People buy houses that even if you're inspected, you don't know. I think it was Never Enough Ammo had the same problem, kind of like what I did. Stuff. Permits are somewhat of a help. Yeah. If you're buying a house, you can check on all that shit, But anyway. Do I agree with zoning commissions and everything else? Most of the time not. But, they were elected most of the places. And that's what's funny is most of this shit people can do something about. Actually get fucking dirty. Start a grassroots campaign and get the zoning commissioner out. Do this. But nobody does anything. They just sit there and kind of complain about it. Well, that's how these bills got like this. Nobody regulating Congress kept spending going. Nobody regulating, the state governments have most of them in bankruptcy. Well, they can't bankrupt, but they should be. And the one, somebody mentioned the one, I think it was Sean being French, the one tax, the government tax you one time and that's it. The problem with that is, like, say you got Mayberry. Mayberry needs to expand its police force. Now, technically, due to contract and everything else, they should only be putting one new deputy on the street. But then they just go, hey, let's try something sneaky. Let's put 10. And we submit the budget and go up. Well, look at the government now. They can't regulate the fraud in welfare, the fraud in Medicare, the fraud in Social Security disability, and everything else. Do you think they're going to be able to handle all these towns and states submitting them budget bills? Fuck no. So who's going to end up paying for that? Yeah. So they're going to take all that money, add it together, divide it. It's going to be more because there's no checks and balances in it. There are checks and balances in the system right now, but who's using them?